Oh, I've had enough of that. Speed it up a bit. Just give me a moment to get myself sorted out while I was pasting links and stuff. So welcome. Geez, hasn't there been a bit going on, hey? Who liked the show? That was pretty good, wasn't it? There's a bit of back and forth and few angry people getting a bit narky at each other, getting a bit hot under the collar. Oh, it was pretty funny. So, yeah, welcome whoever's joined up. It's my pleasure to have you. Thank you very much. But yeah, well, what can I say? What a show! It's just, yeah, you got to. Personally, I got to feel for Prado because he wants to set up his own project, and he thinks his heart's in the right place. but Daddy doesn't want to let him do his thing. he's not allowed to play with the boys yet. Oh dear, it's kind of like it's a bit sad to see. No, if he wants to do whatever he wants to do, then just let him do it. Like, what does it matter? I'm not saying that one of them's right and one of them's wrong. Just let the fella do what the fella wants to do. Maybe it's a crypto project that will work because of the really weird ways of doing things. I don't know, maybe. I've got to stop laughing. Oh dear. That was, yeah. Deep breath. Get all composed. And the first statement has to be, no, he didn't get his support, did he? Oh dear. And to bring it to light that they've already had conversations prior to today. And it was just like, oh no. But it's the problem is you got two egos that are just butt heads, you know. Hate's a pretty strong word. Is that towards Prado wanted support from BL, and deep inside everyone hates him, I guess. Everyone hates Prado? Is that what you, or is it BL? Because I don't know, I find hate a bit of a funny term because it's so one way, so extreme. That's why I don't really ever say that I hate someone. I might dislike what they do or whatever, but no, I hate Prado. Yeah, but you know, he's got his fan base though, doesn't he? What do you think of the tokenomics? Oh, of course. You know, like he say for argument's sake, that's all of his people, right? Obviously, it's a lot more than that. But one by one, you know, he just keeps on chopping them off. And he'll end up with no one because he's just being self-destructive. He's not nurturing his people at all. And this whole thing about doing things to but they maybe deserve it when they do particular savage or severe actions, like deliberate murders or deliberately scamming or, like an action which is deliberate. Then I believe that you could, that's my own opinion, then you sort of cross the line into the being able to use the word hate. But yeah, hate is wrong. You can very much dislike or disapprove or, there's lots of terms, but yeah. But it's all good. Obviously, you're allowed to use that term. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that is how you feel. Maybe you have slightly varying experiences and it makes you feel that way. And that's perfectly fine. I'm obviously not in your shoes, so I'm not to know why you feel in such a way, and that's perfectly fine. But I do find it a bit of a shame, though, because I was watching the live stream for a little while from Prado. I do find it a bit of a shame when you set up a project and you want to do it your way, and then all of a sudden you get someone who hasn't actually got a successful project yet coming in and basically wiping the floor with you and making it to the point where it's either their way or the highway, but their way has never worked yet. So who's giving the advice? Like normally you take advice from people that have wisdom or relevant experience and proven themselves to be worth listening to the advice. And maybe Brian doesn't fit that criteria with his past and current actions and projects. Just putting it out there as an opinion. But that's the way that I look at is Prado still on at the moment? Is their live stream still sucking everyone away? Because it's been a bit of a pain. Because that's why I went on live stream a little bit earlier, but had to call it quits because look, seriously, you don't know what's involved until you do it. Obviously, I've got calf token and I've been through the ups and downs. That's just what it is. But it is so much easier on the other side of the fence when you're not trying to run a project. So it's just those two still. Yeah, that's when I turned off and decided to throw my link up everywhere and hopefully I could get a few people to come across. But because normally I get half a dozen people or whatever now, so it's pretty good. When obviously it's good when you can throw ideas around or, thoughts and what you said before. It's obviously good when that happens, but yeah, I'm only a small project, a small YouTuber, so it is what it is. But I see a couple of people that would normally be in here have been on his stream, and maybe they'll turn up shortly. I'm not sure. We'll just hang in there for a bit and see what happens. But what do you think of the tax structures and things like that he's talking about? Because you've seen the intent in Prado wanting the super high tax as a sort of a protection mechanism. When I'm happy to give my opinion, and I'm not going to change my opinion with whatever you happened to type, and I'm happy to disclose that. But what's any of you guys? What's your opinion on the super high tax structure? Is it actually a protecting mechanism? What do you think about that? Are you swayed by things like that? Is it something that you think that is a good thing, a bad thing? It's always yeah. I wish they would just turn their live stream off. They've been a pain. Dinner time where you are. You're in Europe. That would be about dinner time, wouldn't it? Somewhere in Europe. Because where I am, it's 11:20 at night. What I was saying was that, what do you think of the tax structure? I'm happy to give my opinion on it, but I'm not going to be swayed by anything that you say, because I definitely have my own opinion on it. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, in India. All right. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, I was going to say it's about 9 o'clock. Yeah. You having a late dinner then? Picking out a message. I don't think the tax is good. It's too high. If I have to put money somewhere, I want flexibility to sell anytime regardless of market. Right. You are dead right. And the other thing that happens is that when you lock people in and you have a sliding scale on taxes, whoever was able to get the best wallet or the best meet the threshold to whatever profit that they want, and versus the amount of tax that they have to pay, it makes a sale point for them. And once they start to hit that sale point, then all of a sudden you will start getting pummeled with lots of red, because people are going, oh shit, the sell started, because you've got as long as they can sell it, you've got an overinflated, essentially like a pot of money. I can't say a honey pot because you're able to sell, but you've got an exaggerated balloon of money that is just waiting to get sold. So you can protect people for a day or two or three, but you can't protect them for 4, 5, or 6, or whenever that time happens. At some point, you have to deal with a free market. And in my opinion, you're better off just dealing with the free market sooner rather than later, because as a general rule, if your price is lower, then the effect is less. And it starts to then offload some of the first tokens, like what was bought in the pink sale, and disperse them against new holders. And so that's essentially causing it in its own way a bit of decentralization. Whereas when you do a pink sale and you lock everyone in, then it's more centralized, and it's always going to catch up with you at some point. So you can put it off for a day or two by forcing people to not do certain actions, like not to do sells, but at some point you still have to deal with them doing sells. And I know his idea about having a bigger LP for when that time happens, but if they would put the fundraised money into LP to start with, instead of taking so much out, then it wouldn't be a problem anyway. So they're sort of creating the problem by not applying the funds to the LP initially. So, you know, they talk about protecting the investors, but they're the ones that are creating essentially a perfect storm by locking people in, by having a super high tax or whatever it might be, and thank you, Ellie. Thank you very much for coming online. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. Well, you've been watching these, the Prado live stream and that. What's your thoughts on what's been going on? I was invested in one project called Lunatics. My investment did a 10 times, but then they decided to change the tax, a very minor change. People started selling, so I sold too. But what happened then? Was it a project where they were okay with changing taxes, or is it a project where they said they wouldn't change tax, but then they did change tax? Because there's two very different things there. Because on calf token, I can change the tax, and I have changed the tax, but I've got it very well known that the taxes are there to be changed to adapt to the different conditions at the time. But of course, talk to the community, but if it's appropriate and beneficial to the community, then I can change it. And I haven't had any adverse effects whatsoever I've done 3 tax changes so far, which is just lowering sales tax. And I just haven't had any of that issues at all so far. So, no, well, what they were talking about today, and Brian coming on to his live stream and stuff like that, you know, what sort of, you know, his tax rates and, you know, all that sort of thing. What's your beliefs on that sort of stuff? It'll be interesting to obviously have a little bit more to and fro. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Yeah, they changed the tax and didn't inform. They never said they will never change it or will change it. Yeah. So in other words, it was all like hush hush. And you know, just slipped it in there. Did they go up in the tax or down in the tax? I'm presuming they went up in the tax, and then people got cold feet and decided to go run for the hills. That's what I'm guessing. They changed and kept it hidden and then apologized. So they thought it was better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Right. So they obviously didn't have any faith in their community that they were going to get the answer to the question that they wanted, which was they wanted to change the tax regardless. And they felt that the community wasn't going to give them that outcome that they wanted. And so they just forced it upon people, essentially. Not a way to do business. So you were well and truly within your right to do what you did. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit hard to do community votes because, like for argument's sake, on Canva at the moment, if I did a community vote, no one would vote because the community's that, I don't know, it's that shot at the moment where I don't really like the community participation is very low at the moment. For whatever reason, we're just in the doldrums, and obviously I'm keeping my chin up, but yeah, it's just just tough times, you could say. We're obviously still giving tokens away and doing our stuff. Nothing's changed. And exactly went up in tax. Did it go up by much? Where did it start from? Where did it end up? What did they actually put it up to, and that sort of stuff? Because obviously that would play on people, because the bigger the step up, I would imagine, the bigger the shock, and then people are starting to freak out, going, all of a sudden the tax has changed and it's got worse. It's unfortunately it's inherent of some Australians are just too direct, and I've been called that before, of being too direct, and it's a trait that Australians do, where we don't beat around the bush, we just say it the way we see it, and it can come across quite hard. But the thing is that he was disrespectful in the way because it's Prado's project and he should be allowed to do what he wants to do. He is the CEO and he should be allowed to implement whatever it is that he wants to implement. And if he believes that a certain thing to do is beneficial to the people, well, then do it. That's the whole idea of crypto, isn't it? An experiment, and his thing is just testing the boundaries and trying out, what he believes is a better way to do stuff. I don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with it. Maybe you do. But Plan B and Brian should be in the same position where they just shut up and keep their opinions to themselves, because it's not their project. Basically, what I seen there with Brian and Plan B, Jason, was that they went on to Prado's live stream and they basically forcing Prado to make changes to his protocol to what they want. And that is disrespectful. Absolutely. Because it is his thing to do what he wants to do. And if he goes down in a ball of fire, so be it. If it's successful, wonderful. If not, whatever. But it is Prado's project. And whatever he and the team, obviously he's got the overruling say, but it's his project. He can choose to do what he wishes. And no one, obviously you can give your opinion, but they are literally saying they put a gun to Prado's head, and they're saying to Prado that you either do it this way or I'm not going to support you. Okay. That is just blackmail. Essentially, that it's either do it the way that I want it done, or we basically just FUD on you. That's not the way to do things. It's not like Elon Musk is giving advice. It's BL and Plan B who are still working on a delayed blockchain, failed Esco and Seifu, and the half a dozen other projects, whether it's Fitrova, Bluecoin, all that sort of stuff. There's a project list as long as your arm of failed projects. They have not had one single success yet. And so they're giving out advice to someone that hasn't had a project yet, and yet they haven't had a successful project to date. Now, they will say that Seifu was a success because the liquidity is locked for 13 years, so there's some liquidity that they can't take out, so it can't go to zero. But, of course, he's doing his darndest to take the rest of it out, isn't he? But, of course, because they can't take all of the liquidity, like what he did on Fitrova and Bluecoin and whatever else, then, of course, it's not going to die. The geniuses, yeah, of course. Well, you know what BL's opinion is of me and Calf? Were you around and seen any of that stuff happen? Because I'm not. Obviously, I'm not too sure whether Dinesh, whether you're around and seen that sort of stuff. But obviously, just pop it in there and let me know. Because obviously, you know, like I've had my fair share of challenges too. Like, but it is what it is in this space. It comes with its challenges. It's not all roses and fairy tales and magical stuff. It's not easy. And as Prado is learning now, it's not easy. You can see the stress is building, and he hasn't seen nothing yet. You wait until he has his first problem. And he's making the project complicated enough where he's given himself a good chance of having problems. Yeah, well, that was a long time ago for the LSC. But, you know, the issues that I had happened to Calf at all. You know, probably about, I don't know, a bit over a month ago, month and a half or something like that. Oh, geez, what a joke that was. There's so much information I could have put out there, but I've just bitten me tongue and haven't, you know, like, the whole narrative was made up, you know, so those fuckers could get the project off me. You know, it was all planned out. Don't worry about that. I got it all in messages to verify what I'm saying. It's just unbelievable the lengths that they go to just because they couldn't make a fucking project themselves. And sorry, you'll get my language. Yeah, what a joke. That was just And then Brian on that live stream tried to pin me on doing stupid shit. And it was like, you're talking to the wrong person, you dickhead. He was thinking that I was fucking, they showed me that I was dumping and it wasn't my wallet that was doing it. I said to him, it was Lucky Charms and he owned up to it. I was like, you're joking. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's stressful on my end, though. Like, I'll give you the tip. It was, now what I was talking about with Calf is that I had a malicious dev steal the LP. So Calf, you know, 1 minute it's got LP and the next, well, a second it doesn't. And it's like, oh shit. And so I paused the contract. I think Pardo's learning that one. It's funny, isn't it? It's just like, bloody hell. There's just so much shit. Yeah, I paused the contract and then I made a V2 calf that has the adjustable taxes and stuff. And the different tokenomics where it's got reflections. And yeah, like I said, I can adjust the purchase tax and the sales tax. So at the moment, it's just 3% on both. And the buy tax, the 3% all goes to LP, and the sell tax, the 3%, half of the sale tax goes to LP, and the other half of the sale tax goes into reflections. That's what I've done on Calf. But obviously, the chart's not looking very happy with me, but it's not that bad, but it just is what it is. We're sort of in a bit of a crypto winter, so to speak. The community's been beaten up enough with ESCO twice over, and yeah, I feel there might be a few issues coming with the Pardonomics. But who knows? He's allowed to do his thing. That's what I mean. Like, I can have my opinion, but some of it I'll keep to myself. But yeah. Don't say a year or so. No. Don't want another year of this. But it is what it is. But we will be launching on 2 other blockchains at least. And I was talking to a third blockchain tonight, and there's a possibility we could do that as well. So I want to get access to different communities, but on 2 blockchains, we actually become higher tiered partners, where we get more special privileges because of the animal ethics that we do, because our token is actually real. We actually do real stuff. And that's why, like, Dinesh, are you on my YouTube or TikTok? You probably don't do TikTok there, but whatever it is, are you on my content at all? Or are you looking on Chalk's YouTube? Because I post videos just about every day of different things I do on the farm because it's legitimate. I am a farmer. And we actually do, that's what it's for. Yeah, and I presume I know you're saying about buying a little bit of calf, but I know, of course, you'll be meaning predominantly like the top 20 sort of coins and tokens, that sort of stuff would be the biggest picks that you the bull market where every new token was yeah, well, we've done that. Like, when calf token was released, it was around 008, and it's sitting, no, it was not 008, 0008. Yeah, that's what I was. was sort of thinking that about TikTok. Do you want to have a look at my YouTube at all? Because there you'll see content of what I actually do, and because I am legitimately a farmer, we do raise these calves, and just to enjoy the experience. If there is something enjoyable, if you're in India, you should love cattle, and that's what we do. Hence the word calf, is because we raise calves. So yeah, I'll just on the whim that you want to. It's totally up to you, but I will post the link in the chat. Up to you, but I will post stop talking. The link. Jeez. Oh. Yeah, well, are you in my Discord at all then, Dinesh? And of course, thank you, Ellie. You've joined us on a few live streams and stuff now, so you've seen what we do and don't do. I'm not trying to promote calf as such, but obviously I'll talk about it. But oh no. Don't you hate that when you're waiting for a transaction and it's just not happening, and yet you don't want your BTC stuck? Well, definitely enjoy your gym, Ellie. Absolutely. Right. I'll just post the course for the calves Discord link, just in case you feel like joining that as well, because obviously it's greatly appreciated if you do. But that's got all the things like the websites and white paper and just all the stuff. So and of course there's me in there, and it actually is me. So it's God, geez, I'm losing track of the chat. Oh yeah, no, that's all right. I love the Futters Discord. Don't worry, it's all good. I love your work. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, thank you, Ellie. We, you can actually see that is the purpose behind it. We haven't got to the stage where it's actually doing anything yet, but that is the purpose behind it. So it'll get there one day, but we're just doing our thing. 4 hours. I bet you it's like watching paint dry. Like-minded people for which part? And is that for your legs? Or everywhere? Yeah. I need to lose a bit of this. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Don't worry, I'm in the fudders as well, but I spend most of my time in the Vulcan safe food spot. It's great for a laugh. Just got to yeah. Yeah, age and gravity does funny things, doesn't it? It's just don't you ever go in there, Ellie? There's just so much shit, it's just unreal. But of course, Prado's got his spot in there now as well, and it's just like, oh my god, just so much shit going on. They say about finding a second Earth for humans to live on, but if it's a bigger than the one we got, we're going to have more gravity and it's only just going to make it worse. So you need an evolving body to be able to take the stresses. Yeah, we've all been through our crypto challenges, haven't we? It's been like Safe Moon, whatever it is. You know, there's plenty of stuff. It's just, yeah, the space is just full of it. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I bought on April 1st, so that was around that $200 and something mark, and I know the feeling. Yeah. Look, is that actions speak louder than words, and they keep making up excuses for this or that or the other, and they just whitewash it so much with the community that it's just like, oh, here we go again. And it's like, where is the point where the truth ends and the shit starts? Like, it gets that blurry that it's hard to tell, but at the end of the day, as long as there isn't action, well, then it kind of speaks volumes. Just from that inaction, kind of says it all. So it gets a bit annoying. Obviously, one thing you learn as a farmer is that don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. You get it done, because things don't get easier by being complacent, being lethargic. So, Denise, are you Baba? Was that you in the Fudders chat, was it? Because you say that you're already here in my YouTube. So are you Baba from the coffee and crypto or Fudders Discord? Because names are always different on different things. So I'm slowly learning. Nice. Yeah, I'm just looking through there at the moment. It's just been so much shit going on. Like, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? But I just don't understand in the way that it's Prado's token. Prado should just do what he wants to do. If he wants and he believes that a high tax is the way to go, then just let him have a high tax and do his thing. Surely he doesn't need Daddy's approval to I'll just wave to you. Daddy's approval to, like set the taxes to a level that gets his approval. Am I being annoying, Ryan? No. No, that's good. Yeah. It's full of it, isn't it? It's just, yep, there's plenty of stories to tell, all right? Is it because there is an alternative agenda going on? Is it because they're actually planning something like planning this as a diversionary tactic? Is that why that they're like orchestrating and putting on such a show because they want the old look over here? Did he though? He's so scared of people selling, and he knows Brian loves to sell. BL's not a holder. Don't know. Whichever way you look at it, there's always two sides, isn't there? Like it gets damn difficult. You win on one hand, you lose on the other, and then it's just yeah. Yeah. It was disappointing to see a CEO get walked over. Well, they got ganged up on, I know that. Obviously Plan B and Brian, they both ganged up on him. And it was a bit unfair. Like I said before, it's not like they're speaking from a place of being so supreme at releasing projects that actually work. So, it's not like they can really speak with authority. But yeah, I just wish that, well, I don't know, we'll find out what Prado actually decides to do, but in my opinion, he should just do what he believes is the right thing to do, and then he will either make it successful or not, but he's only got himself to blame. Because she knows Prado can ruin it all. So what are you saying, that he's getting a bit whipped? he's copping it from the missus as well as from the other two. Oh, you poor boy. He's getting a flogging, isn't he? Oh no. Yeah, it makes me feel sorry for him because it's his bloody project. Like, if he chooses to do whatever he wants to do, then just let him do it. And because what's going to happen, and is that if he does give in to it and decides to do the way that he's more or less been told to do it, then he's always going to be left in the mindset of, what if I only did, what if I did it my way? And the problem is that once you release a project, you can't take it back. Like, once you got LP there, it's trading, and it is what it is from that moment on. You can't just go, okay, I'm suddenly going to turn it into something else. Hi, Leon. Thank you very much for joining. I did see your comment, and I put it up there, but yeah, I know you're in there seeing the show. It was quite I don't know whether you heard me say it, but I'm quite disappointed that Prado was getting kind of a bit ganged up on. It was a bit sad to see when he owns his own project, and yet he's not allowed to have it as his own project. It's kind of like a little bit demoralizing. Yeah. Yeah. I'm reading your statement, and I'm just, I can't stop laughing. Oh, shit. It's so funny, isn't it? Because they're like, it's like they're on a, you can't get away from me. You can't get away from me. You're stuck. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, no. Yeah, I know but that's the thing. Like, I'm obviously looking at it a bit more from Prado's perspective, right? Because as a project owner, like, he should be able to consult with his team and his own community and decide on his own course of action. Now, he puts up these little polls and does his thing, and he was getting back positive feedback, positive enough for him to conclude that that was the right thing to do. And then the other two come on and gang up on him, and now he's sort of flip-flopping a bit. And it's like, all they're doing is shaking his tree. Like, I thought that he was a diamond hand, but he's getting shaken all about. Thank you very much, Ellie. Oh no, be red hot, hey? Wonder if there's much in the way of name calling. I know there is from Jason. And I bet you behind the scenes, Brian lets fly with his stupid bloody words. Because I know that he's got two sides of him, where you've got the front that he puts on YouTube where he's slick. Nothing is wrong with whatever he does. He's perfect. But then behind the scenes, you've seen his carry on it, like Change Now and whatever, where he just gets all like basically in their face. And I would imagine that Prado's getting a bit more of the in your face sort of attention, I think. It's disappointing because it's just disrespectful. Like, it's just it's not their place. It's not their thing. Like it's his plan to do what he wants to do. And I sound like I'm being a supporter of him. I'm being a supporter of him for a CEO's perspective. He wants to do his thing, and so be it. He can do his thing. Yeah. But hopefully you like what me YouTube is, Dinesh. Because, like I said, I basically put the same content on YouTube as I do on TikTok. So it's essentially the same thing. So hopefully you like seeing what I actually do. If you, I presume you like cows. Everyone in India does. They're like godlike. They're highly respected. And yeah. Unless, of course, you're not. I don't know. Did someone sell some calf? Why is it I go live and someone sells some calf? It's not very nice. Why do they do that? It's not allowed. I should put super high tax. No, there's no sell. It was a buy, but then the stupid thing went down. That's just funny, though. You get a buy and then it goes backwards. It's like, great. Should be a green stick, not a bloody red one. Ah, well. Cheaper buy position. Certainly plateaued out. I much prefer looking at the chart when it was up a bit more. Bit of a bugger that it got flogged a bit, but what's Esco's chart doing? Was 91 the last time I opened it. Waiting for the mass news item, an Australian was in his house and forced to. Seriously? I'm sure you're not joking about that. Wow. Well, where are you, Just Mint? Is that pronounced Zen? Just Mint Zen. I would imagine that's pronounced like that. Whereabouts are you, if you don't mind me asking? In Europe. Oh, nice. I'm obviously not in Europe. I'm in Western Australia. And that's why it is 10 minutes past 12. Isn't a Lambo and a Ferrari? Wasn't that what was in the yeah two cars. I'm pretty sure it was a Lambo and a Ferrari. Like, it wasn't just one or the other, it was both. 610. Yeah, that sounds about right. I might as well do a plug. Just Mint Zen, are you on my YouTube by any chance? Or are you on Chalk's YouTube? Yeah, I thought it was a Ferrari too, yeah. Because he's got the between the two cars at his house. It's like, yeah, good on you. It's all right for some, isn't it? And that's all. And that house and two cars and that since Seifu. Yeah, I don't think he'd have a Porsche, personally. I don't think it would be up to his thing. But well, would you like to join my YouTube so then you can see me on the farm? Yeah. Just in case, I'm not forcing you to. I don't want to tweet. I want to go to YouTube and go to, oh yeah, right. Share. Copy link. Just in case you do decide to, which will be greatly appreciated if you do, please join. I just put up the link there. Please join my YouTube, and if you really feel generous, no, what do I want? I don't want to do that. Gosh. And if you really feel generous, please join my Discord for Cause the Calves and just have a look around. Ask me questions. I'm there a lot as Keith the Crypto Farmer. Hey, there's my. Oh, where am I pointing? Up there on the top there. It says that. It says my name. Keith actually is my real name. The Crypto Farmer is not my surname. But yeah, mainly my YouTube is all full of, like, I post videos on the farm each day. Well, I'll try and post them each day, and like even multiple videos. Like today, I think I put 4 different videos on there. And it's, like mainly little things that we're doing, like whether it's like feeding calves or whatever it is, a few things on the bobcat or whatever. So it's not just crypto shit, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. That's just more generalized sort of stuff to do with just obviously calf token, but or Cause of the Calves NFT project that I have. And yeah, so we've got a promotion going on for the next week and a half. Anyone that buys an NFT, they're only $20, but anyone that buys an NFT, the ones that buy them within the 2-week period, and there's been no one yet, you go into a draw with whoever else bought one in that 2-week period to win 6,000 calf. And then you're also in a weekly draw for 6,000 calf. And so that's what my NFT project does at the moment. But obviously that was set up waiting for Vulcan, but where's Vulcan? So I just made calf token back in January as the utility token for the NFT project because we're just waiting on Vulcan or SafeUX back then to get launched, and yeah, it just never seemed to want to happen, did it? So it was just like fine. So I just did that so I could at least reward the community for their assistance and support. Well, I'm invested, yes. I know you used a past tense. Well, it would be bloody nice if it would work, wouldn't it? Like, if you're invested, like, of course you want the blockchain to work, but yep, I sacrificed. Yeah, I'm just one of the many. You know, I got a bit over 4,000 or something vol, supposedly, and but all this stupid shit with Esco and that. Yeah. At this stage, you did a very smart thing. And I would say that even if Vulcan launches, you've still done a very smart thing because you can just buy and sell on the free market if it happens to be something. Yeah, it's a bit hard when I bet you that the money's all been spent. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I give my opinions, and I very much agree. But there's no point me really saying anything more because it's not going to change anything. You know, like I can get myself upset till the cows come home, but nothing is going to change. And I'm just at the mercy of whatever they do. But that's obviously I would have much preferred to have I've got to read this. Deep down, you know that BL will come up with an excuse not to launch, so I suggest not thinking about Vol anymore. Move on. Yeah, I know, but that's the whole thing. I spoke about it a fair bit tonight because of the laughing at the show between Prado and BL and Jason, and plus you guys are in the same so-called fudders chat, and so we're just having a laugh about it all, aren't we? You know, like, believe me, I've got a bloody smile from ear to ear just going like it's just like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately I'm just locked in, you know, like my son's Vulcan, he had about 2,000 or something like that supposedly, but he lost his wallet and cleaned his wallet and doesn't have the seed phrase, so that's gone. But it just cleaned the slate quicker than what it might have done otherwise. So it's just the way it is. It's funny you say about Greek. It's funny how much he's like he was an original Safe Moon pusher, and you know what happened there, and you know, like he hasn't really backed many winners either. You know, like it's yeah. I'm not obviously I'm not complaining. Like I don't know whether you guys know, but I'm a disabled farmer. You mightn't think so with me sitting here, but I have a lot of you see it. You might not see it in my videos, but you know, like I got severe osteoarthritis in both knees and both elbows, and I had a brain tumor on, and that's why like this ear is deaf. I had an acoustic neuroma, and so I live with constant vertigo, as well as like I get migraines and stuff all the time. But this ear really is really loud in tinnitus, even though it's completely deaf. But that's why I'm going, like tomorrow I'm going up for cortisone injection in a knee and for x-rays, and I've got to do the MRI again tomorrow. So I've got a big day of medical stuff tomorrow after we feed the calves. And we got to drive a long way to get to the hospital where I've got to get it done. When I say a long way, it's about 200 kilometres away for one way. Prado's got passion, all right. He certainly does. He's got it in spades, doesn't he? Like he really does have it in spades. Like he's that passionate. He'll just tell you to your face. He's a character. So, but you hope to make money and safe. Yes, correct. Yeah. You are correct on all fronts, and that's why no matter what happens, I take responsibility for whatever it is that I do, right? So if I choose to invest, well, then I take responsibility whether it's good or bad, right? I'm not living a fairy tale dream. Obviously, I wish that they would just go through with whatever they sold us on, but of course they kept changing the rules to suit themselves and their agenda, and they keep running these narratives to try and make it all okay. And it's really, like, for argument's sake, when I'll go on to this one. Yeah, the tests come out good, hopefully. The MRI is, I have 2 of them a year, because after you have a brain tumor, because my brain tumor was on the bigger end of the scale, and hence why it's caused so much damage on this side of my head. But it's all right, but it's just the way it is now. But they couldn't get all of the brain tumor, and so that's why I've got to keep getting MRIs. They say for life, but hopefully not 2 a year for life. And yeah, but just to see the progression of it, but nothing's changed since surgery. So, you know, I would hope that they back it off a bit, and I don't know, because whenever we go into the hospital or whatever, it's a long way from where we live, because we live quite remote. So that's just the way it is. But I should be getting 2 knee replacements, hopefully. I'm seeing the orthopedics about that, because there's certain timelines of getting stuff done at certain ages, and I'm 49, and they're saying that originally it was 65 before you could get a knee replacement done. Because I didn't know that initially. I was probably a bit too blind. I didn't know. And then by the time it was brought to my attention, it's probably too naive to sell out of it, I suppose, because you got to remember, and this is playing the violin, right? I'm not playing the violin, but when I had all my medical stuff happen to me, I was fit and strong and then it's in my YouTube channel. There's a medical thing, but at the beginning of 2020, when all the COVID stuff hit, and it was at the same time that hit, I actually had a spinal cord injury. All I did was stand up, right? And my sciatic nerve down my right leg, it got pinched. And so I needed a laminectomy, and excruciating pain until I was on heavy opioids, and I was totally in a different world. All the time I was still doing my work, doing my thing, but I was in a different world. And you talk about drug addictions, that was just bloody horrible, right? And the MRIs for assessment, yes, where I get the contrast as well, which they do to see the tumor, so it highlights it. But at about June or July or something like that, we had some water tanks delivered, and I actually got crushed underneath the water tank. I put myself in a really stupid place, and it was only a 13,000 litre tank, and it put this massive hematoma or big bruise on my right leg. And it, without puncturing the skin, it got infected, and so I needed surgery on it. And I was on a lot of anti-inflammatories and that for me back. And when I went, and obviously I was on a lot of oxycodone and OxyContin, the old opioids, and it was that bad. I was way out in a different world, right? And I went to hospital for my leg because it made me sick as I got really, really crook. And it turned out that the bruise got infected, even though it hadn't ruptured the skin. And so that's why, like, it's not gross to show you now, but I can show you. That's why I've got this big scar down my leg. Oh, jeez. That's why I've got this scar down my leg here, because that's where they opened up the bruise. Oh, God. And at that point in time, they actually found out that I was actually in kidney failure because the anti-inflammatories gave me acute tubular necrosis. And so it actually stopped my kidneys from working. And that's why I was like, when I got admitted to hospital, this is the strangest thing you ever have in your life. And I know not too many get this experience, but, well, maybe there is. But I'm sitting there on the bed, and the doctors come in and say, "I'm sorry, mate, but you're dying." And I was like, okay. And, because I sort of look on the bright side of stuff. And I was like, well, everyone's dying. Like, tell me what I don't know. And they said, no, seriously, we got to get you down to ICU to save your life. And then they told me I was in kidney failure because of the anti-inflammatories. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty serious. And so I spent a couple of weeks getting treatment for kidney failure, obviously a lot of dialysis and stuff like that. And then, but at the same time, I ended up getting surgery done on my leg once I obviously was okay for the kidney stuff. And I went cold turkey on the opioids when I was there. So I stopped that. And I tell you what, if you've ever been addicted to old opioids, like it's essentially like being addicted to heroin. Well, that's what they say on the internet, because essentially it's the same thing. It's just, holy shit, man. It just turned me into a wet sock. It was bloody hard. That was tough. But anyway, that's life. And when that sort of recovered from surgery a little bit, after about 2 weeks or so, I never got better. My head was always like ringing like hell, and it never got better. So I went to my GP and I said, look, I need to get a CT scan because I've got a brain tumor. And he goes, yeah, righto. And and he said, well, what's your symptoms? And I said, yeah, I know what I got. And so I told him what it was. And he goes, and believe it or not, my doctor was bloody brilliant. He goes, no worries, I'll do that. So he sent me off to a CT scan. And it was funny because they treat me like shit when I go in there. And then when they did the scan, they find that they call it a lesion, right? And then they come out with their, like, it's almost like they come out with their roll of bubble wrap and they wrap you up and go, it's okay, we're really sorry, but you have a lesion on your brain. And I was like, duh, that's why I'm here. Like, I know this shit. And but fortunately, because that was an emergency situation for that, because it was on the big end of the scale, that fast-tracked me to seeing the neurosurgery. And so when I went to see the neurosurgeons, I took my scans for my back with me because I was still on the public waiting list, and they just take forever to get to you on the public list. It's just so slow. And so I went to the neurosurgeon and they had to download the records for my brain scans before they could have a talk to me about it. And I said to him, look, I've got these scans here for my back. Could you please have a look? Because I was waiting to see an appointment. And they go, yeah, no worries, mate. And so I was like, you friggin' ripper. And so I gave them my scans and they went, oh, shit. Well, you really got a problem here. You need to have this surgery done. And then they open up me brain scan and go, oh, shit. You really need to have that surgery as well. Okay, well, which one do you want first? And I said, well, the head's not going anywhere, so can you try and save my leg by doing the back surgery? And so they booked me in straight away when they found a spot. It was only like 10 days or something, and I was in for a laminectomy. But by the time they got to it, my sciatic nerve is damaged, and so now I've got foot drop, and there's quite a few muscles in my right leg that don't work anymore. But they did what they did, and that's life. And then about it was only less than 2 weeks later, they booked me in for getting me brain surgery done. But there was quite a few things that went wrong, like they messed up my tongue, like they permanently damaged it. So it's like, it's always metallic in that now. And, let alone my head is, the post-operative stuff is just shit, where it just rings like hell and constant vertigo and shit like that. Yeah, I never had that problem because I looked at the scans that I took in there, and so it was really good because I did have MRI scans of my back. Because of course I've had, all of the treatments that you could do pre-seeing, like anti-inflammatory injections and stuff done without actually seeing, while I was on the waiting list to see the neurosurgery for the back. But yeah, so I had a really good 2020 because all of this shit happened in 2020 because my brain surgery was like the 10th of December or something like that. And yeah, then just the dates prior to that was everything else. So it's just, yeah, it wasn't good at all. And that's why, like, when Brian shit came along, I was in a worse position than where I am now, because of course it's the recovery. Essentially, even though I could walk, I had to learn to do it all again. So there was like a lot of setback. Because seriously, when you have brain surgery, it's just not a good place. It's like you go to orthopedics, or you go to, like, I've been in orthopedics plenty of times, or you go to, general wards or whatever. Pretty much anywhere in hospital is a picnic. You go to brain surgery and it's just, hey, yeah, it's just horrible. And time for me to go. No, I keep him up. Oh. And yeah, so anyway, I've got a dash 12:35. I think we all got to go. No, it's all good. It's all good. But thank you for joining my YouTube and for joining this live stream. Thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. And of course, you have stories to tell. I would love to hear it. And about where you live, what you do, good, bad, whatever. It's all good. But, issues with life, like I'm on permanent pain medication because I'm a chronic pain patient. So I take buprenorphine patches. But yeah, recovery from brain surgery, it's the ward is just horrible, man. Like it's not a fun place to be at all. And yeah, it's just, I'm sure there's worse things you could have in your life. Like my thing is that there's kids that get cancer and shit when they're little, like I lived life pretty well up until that point, like, but yeah, everyone has their challenges, yeah, no, for sure. But I've got these videos in my YouTube channel that go through our cause, the reason why we do it and all that sort of stuff. Because, like, this is a token with utility that, that's why, like, the community got all beaten up with Brian doing his fudding shit on me and that. But we've, with Chalk's help, we've stood strong. We're doing our thing. I know Chalk had a fair share of supporting Brian as well, but believe me, she's seen the other side. She got pummeled from pillar to post from Brian as well. So, it's been a rough trot, but it's just what it is. But yeah, thank you very much for all turning up, and I'll call it a night at that. Yeah, love yous all. Take care. And when I eventually find me little outro. All right, take care. Cheers. See you later.